Welcome to the offseason, Gabe. Remember all those Penix shares we drafted in the top of the second or the end of the first, and the bet was, man, if we can just value him like a future first, when the opportunity comes, you'll be able to flip him for that plus. Well, here we are. We got Penix for the 107 in a 12-team start 9. Where are you at on Penix at this point?
Man, I think he would probably be one of the better quarterbacks of this class. If again, just based on what we've seen so far from him, which isn't a very big sample size. So I think I would be comfortable with sending my 107 for Michael Penix.
All right, well, let's talk about it.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
Welcome back to another episode of the All Gas Trade Show. That's Gabe at iGabe_FF. I'm Ty at TyDeclare44 on X, and we've got a show for you. Yes, welcome on in, Gabe. It's Saturday as we record. You see the lights coming through on my wall. It is not midnight, so make it a little more of a chipper show from the All Gas Trade Show this week. Gabe, how are you doing, and how do you feel about playoff football coming up today?
Oh, man. So I'm feeling great. To your point, this is our first morning show, which, again, most of the viewers wouldn't know that, but it is something that we're trying to change a little bit to see if we can bring some more energy for you guys. That being said, I am still a little sweaty from the workout I did this morning, so bear with me. And one thing I did want to say, talking about playoff football, today, me and Ty are enemies. My Houston Texans will be battering the Kansas City Chiefs today.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And so today's extra special for me and Ty, because we get to just talk mess to each other all day until the end of the game.
And one of us will go home very sad and have to lick our wounds and
Tuck our toes,
I have an inkling
between our legs.
yeah, I have an inkling of who that's going to be, but we'll see what happens. Once the football gets played.
I think I have the same one too, but we'll see.
And if you want to talk shit to me and Gabe in the Discord, hop on in. Use code TRADES when you head on over to ddfantasyfootball.com. You get signed up for the all conference tier plus Discord. Get in there. We can talk stuff in there. But if you want to get into voice chat, get everything DD has access to, including the premium pod feed, where all of the shows live on stages, Bet and Sweat, Mannequin Show, whatever else is going up inside the Discord, you get access to it. Use code TRADEGOAT. Get 50% off your first month of the GOAT tier. You get access to literally everything. And like I said, that includes voice chat, where Gabe and I will be for most of the offseason, I'd say. A good chunk of the offseason. And Gabe, also, anyone that signs up using those codes, send me and Gabe a DM. We'll review your roster for free for using those promo codes just to get in the door. And once you're in the door, Gabe and I will be doing some semi-frequent roster reviews live on stages as well. So get in now and reap the rewards later.
Yep.
Gabe, we also have the All Gas Trade Show Dynasty League, name TBD, but that is coming up as well. You have to be in the door to get in there. So get in there now. Shoot us a message if you're interested. Had a couple people reach out already, so it's going to be a good one.
Yes. The more the merrier, too. The more the merrier.
Seriously, literally, the more the merrier, please. Yes, the more people we can trade with, the better.
Correct.
And someone that I bet we will see traded in our league at some point is Michael Penix or the 107. So, Gabe, I'm with you, man. Like, if Penix was in this class, he's probably quarterback one. Like, it's probably not close. I've heard that take said on shows already.
Yeah.
Like I said, the 107 is nice. Like, it's the earliest of the playoff picks you have access to. Like, we don't really know what we have access to yet. And after the combine, I know the value of the 107 will go up, but people are hesitant on the class. They see there's not the high end quarterback talent to really balloon up the value of these. So they're scared a little bit, right? And they maybe want to move off of some of their picks to get into quarterbacks now that they feel better about. So Penix 107, 12 team start 9. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm taking Penix here too. We just did a startup, and the prices on the auction board will tell you that it's Penix over 107 by a good chunk.
Yeah, I mean, you got to kind of think about it in the context of, like, Michael Penix right now, that 107, you're hoping it can turn into a Michael Penix, right? And I say that because Michael Penix already has the draft capital that you wanted. Like, he's already got the buy-in from the team, clearly, because he's, was named the starter at the end of the season. They wanted him to kind of sit back a little bit behind Kirk Cousins and see, if maybe he could be a mentor to him. But Michael Penix is the future of the franchise. I mean, that's what they want him to be. And I know we don't have a big sample size, right? But the couple games that Michael Penix played, he looked like a rookie, but he looked a little bit better than a rookie, like he was making good throws. He was making smart decisions. So I think overall, like, he's a little bit more secure, I feel like, in his dynasty value than a 107, right? A lot of the times the picks have value, Ty, but as soon as you make that selection, that's where it can either go good for you or really bad for you really quick, man. Really, really quick. So, yeah, man, I'm happy to pivot from the 107 to Michael Penix. And I mean, how high would you go, Ty, from a first round pick right now to Michael Penix? Like, what would be the highest that you would be willing to trade? Obviously, I know that there's ADV involved, so you're mindful of that. But just in general, like, what's the most that you would be willing to pay?
Well, let me just go through some of the deals that are up on Dynasty Daddy's trade database and just listen to some of the names that are involved in a Penix deal. Penix, McCarthy, and 101 for Drake May, Josh Downs, and 2026 firsts. Penix in a first for Mixon, McCaffrey, McLaurin, and Jordan Mason. I definitely want Penix in the first there. Yeah. Penix, 104, 201, and 204 for Lamar and Charbonnet. Give me Penix in the picks there.
Yeah.
Penix, 212 and 312 for Kyler.
I think I would take Penix 212 and 312 for Kyler.
Trade to the champion, a 12-team start 10, full PPR. That's probably a wash.
Close. Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably close.
Yeah. Where we got here? So Penix for Trevor Lawrence and Ben Sennett. Yeah, give me Penix there. Josh Allen and Isaiah Likely for Penix, Pitts, and 226 firsts. Are you going all the way up to Josh Allen with Penix? And 2 firsts? And Pitts?
I mean, I think I would, man. That's a lot. But I think I would. I'd be happy to do that. I mean, I know a lot of people are scared right now on old Kyle Pitts over there, but I think I'd be okay with that. Right now, actually, on KTC, he's QB 16, right behind Baker Mayfield.
There you go. So what I'm seeing here, again, like there's another deal that I won't bite yet because I know it's actually going to be on this show later. But like I said, Penix 107, 207 for Bijan. The point is, having Penix right now, I think gives you arguably more flexibility than like a mid-range pick would be. So, I mean, honestly, if I had to put a number on it right now, I'd say probably 104, 105 is about where I would feel comfortable giving up for Penix if I have a need, if I want to bet that Penix will be more flexible as we go through the process. But like right here, right now, I'm really not that interested in moving a top 6 pick if I can help it, because I just know the value will go up even if the quarterback value is not there. I mean, where are you at on that scale?
Yeah, I actually was going to say, I think I'm right there, 105. I feel like 104, it's a little bit more dicey because I do think that some of these picks will accrue value as we continue into the offseason, as the hype continues to build. And once we get projected landing spots, like, everybody's going crazy over like Genty to the Cowboys and, Genty really anywhere, I guess, at this point. But, just in general, like there's a lot of buzz. And so I think these picks will continue to accrue value. So I think I'm right at the 105. I think 104, I'd lean 104 over Michael Penix. But again, I'm fine with the 105 and above.
Absolutely. Now, if you have Tua and Caleb Williams on your team as well, so you've locked up both left-hand throwing quarterbacks, like that has to be worth something in Dynasty. But I mean, if you have a quarterback room of Caleb and Tua, are you paying 107 to get into Penix, even just from a flexibility standpoint?
I think so, man. I think I still would do it. I like Caleb. I like Tua. I think Caleb obviously a little bit more secure. There's a lot of rumblings right now out of Miami with Tyreek and different things. And so I would be okay to secure a third, potentially high-end QB2, low-end QB1 for the 107. I think I'd be okay with that, especially in you said 12-team start 9?
12-team start 9, yeah.
Yeah. I think I would be okay with that.
Yeah. This time of year, like I'm kind of on the lookout for two different things. I'm on the lookout for extremely affordable veteran type deals that I can get just thrown in, and it's not a high cost of acquisition. Oh, yeah. But also I'm looking at ways to just be more flexible, to gain some value, to accrue some more stuff that I can use throughout the season and throughout the offseason to get my team to the place that I want it to be. Doesn't have to look perfect now, construction-wise, doesn't have to be set. But as we move throughout the process, I want to slowly but surely pair that in. Having Michael Penix throughout this offseason, I think the hype is only going to grow as we get closer to the season, as it's clearly Penix is starting for the Falcons and it's his show, and Drake London's excited. Like, it's going to be like the excitement will build for Penix. I think it will be at least comparable to what like a mid-round pick would be. So I'm fine getting into Penix for that.
Yeah, agree. I agree on that.
Now, I'm not going to make us wait too long here. I'm going to just go down to the other Penix deals we have here. We have a couple, actually. So, actually, I guess this is the main one. Bang. Drew C. in a 12-team, start 12, Superflex PPR, 175, tight end premium. Michael Penix, 111 and 106, being moved for Lamar freaking Jackson. So 12 by 12, a bit more deep, not talking best ball, we're talking lineup here. So, like I said, Penix, 106, 111, a lot of flexibility, but you're climbing to the top of the ladder in Lamar Jackson. Does the format give you pause here, Gabe, and where do you come down here?
You said it was a 12 by 12?
Yeah.
12 by 12 lineup. I mean, I do think in a 12 by 12, typically I want more assets, right? Because you're starting to worry about depth. So I do think that it gives me a little bit of reservation to kind of give this up. That being said, though, I mean, you're getting QB1, QB2, depending on how you view Lamar Jackson. Like, you're getting into just an absolute hammer, an absolute stud. And I mean, really, the only thing that I have a little bit of pause on giving up is Michael Penix and the 106. The 111, I mean, that's fine. Like, I'll figure something else out there. So that being said, I think I want the Lamar Jackson side of this deal, but it does give me a little bit of pause. I feel like I would have wanted to try to see if I could get something kicked back, like just something thrown in on the other side, just to make me feel a little bit better. But again, sometimes we don't need to squeeze on the deal and just get it done, right? Just get it done. So I'm good with that. I'm good with Lamar Jackson here over Michael Penix and the 106 and the 111.
Yeah, it's a hefty price to pay for Lamar, but Lamar's definitely worth the cost in a 12 team, even in a start 12, right? Like, yes, those picks aren't nothing. You'll be able to fill in with some, like Shane, Gene, Coach, and I did a 12 team start 8 best ball mock draft for fantasy over on the pod feed. And man, like, there's going to be tons and tons of players that we love at 106 through 111. And I don't want to discount that at all, but I'm thinking if I have Lamar, I should probably be able to liquidate Lamar for this kind of a return whenever.
Anytime.
Right? Penix has risks, even though he's sexy right now. He has risks. And I mean, 106, yes, it is a pick that I like, but we're not talking the same thing as Lamar here. So I think locking in Lamar, you solve a lot more problems than you create. And I mean, I know on this one, let's just pull it up here. He still has 101, 105, 110, 112, and 4 seconds. None of the picks he traded away were his. So he grew his war chest, and he spent it all not all, he spent some of it to move up the ladder in a smart way. So I love this. Give me Lamar, but it's not a bad deal for the Psalm 3303 side.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, and I think to that point, knowing that he has even more picks in his back pocket, if you will, like, it just makes this deal a little bit more enticing, right? I know we've talked about it before, but sometimes maybe not right now, because right now I don't think it's the best time to liquidate some of the first, unless the opportunity just is right. But having sometimes, and we've talked about it before, but having the conviction, man, to pivot off of these picks to get a little bit more security is definitely something worth doing, in my opinion, because how often, man, do we see, Yeah, I mean, hell, we could have looked even at Marvin Harrison and Caleb Williams and some of these guys that we just recently touted as like the next thing. And I'm not saying that they're not, right? I want to make sure that to preface that, but the community value is just, they put so much buzz, so much confidence into these guys that as soon as they don't do what they're expected to do, it's just like, oh, okay, well, maybe they're just not what we thought they were, right? Like, why did we have them penciled up there? And so, you know what Lamar Jackson is. I mean, he's done it every single year, just about. And so, there's something to know about just pivoting off of risk and getting into something a little bit more secure, right? And again, sometimes that's definitely worth the cost, because at the end of the day, the 106 and 111 still have to hit. Like, they still have to be something, and you just, to your point, Lamar Jackson, you can get what do we with three first value? You can get 3 first value for Lamar Jackson anytime. I mean, literally anytime.
Yeah. Even in a 12 by 12. Yeah. Like, I'm trying absolutely. To think, like, if this is a snake draft, I'm just trying to think like where these picks would be and where Penix would be. Like, you're probably trading down from 102 overall to like
fourth, maybe.
I'd say a third. I'd say a third. I think okay. People will balloon up that quarterback value into the third. I think third and fourth is probably fair. I'm trying to pull up some data here while I do that. But I mean, 106, 111. Like, I think in a startup, I might make that trade to move down from 102 to, like, if I can make the right split and make it work. But like Drew C, he's done the split and he has the picks, and now he's using those to go up not just 1 tier, 2 tiers, like all the way to the top. So I like how you've done this, and like I said, now you have Lamar locked in. You don't got to worry about that QB2. You can just fill out with the 101, all that. You don't got to worry. Like you mentioned in season last year, we were talking about that Jalen Hurts, Sam Darnold trade swap, right? Is you don't got to worry about trying to fill the problem in the draft. You have freedom and flexibility in just taking the best player available and just making your roster better that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, I mean, you're not winning your dynasty league in January, so you've got plenty of time.
You're not. Okay, so I just have some startup data pulled up here. Let me see. So Penix is currently around quarterback 17, around 50 coming off the board. So the top around 5-ish.
Oh yeah.
106, 6th round, 111, 9th round. So are you trading down? That. Right, so 102 for a 6th, a 7th, and an 8th, or whatever that. Yeah, it's a little too far down for me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Even in the start 12, no, absolutely not.
Perfect. All right, good stuff, Drew. It's a good trade. We got inbox offer. If we have time, we might come back to that. But we like to do some completed trades on this show, and our boy Shane pulled one off here. Superflex start 11. I'm assuming a 12 team. Yes. So Shane traded away Kyler Murray and Jerome Ford, got into George Kittle and James Cook. So Shane's shared the scoring as well. So it's a 6-point passing touchdown league. Some major negatives for pick sixes and -2 interceptions, -1 quarterback sack. So a little bit of a big play bonus, but 1.5 or 0.15 for a rush attempt. It's a 0.125 PPR for running back, PPR for wide receiver, and 2.0 for the tight ends. So I've been
George Kittle, hammer.
Murray, we know that Shane has a large cachet of Kyler after last offseason. That was kind of his bet to try to get a cheap quarterback in that elite tier. Yeah. So I know he has a lot of Murray. Jerome Ford helped you down the stretch in 2024. What is that in 2025? Who the heck knows? James Cook. We know my thoughts on James Cook. I think he's a running back. I don't think if I had to be the Bills front office, I don't think addressing running back is going to be the top of their priority list. So I think James Cook can probably be assumed in the same role that he's going forward. But I mean, Gabe, are you trading Murray and Ford to get into the hammer of like a 31-year-old Kittle and James Cook? What are you doing here in a Superflex 12-team start 11?
Man, I think so. I want to start off with James Cook because I feel like I've come around a lot on James Cook, and obviously with the Bills being in the playoffs and just different things like that, like I've been watching a lot more of James Cook, like the games himself, and dude, he's pretty good, man. He's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
He's pretty good, and he's on a very good offense. And so, to your point, like I think 100%, I don't think the Bills are going to be addressing running back in the offseason. I don't think that's where they need to address anything. I mean, so I'm going to just pencil in James Cook as probably another low-end RB1, which is probably where he should be penciled in. I mean, at the end of the day, he's shown me nothing short of that. And so I think he's just been very, very good. And then George Kittle, I mean, 31 tie for the tight end position. Like, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as you're making it seem. How many times have we sat, not we, particularly you and I, but just in general, the community, written off a guy like Zach Ertz because he's too old? Like, and the dude's just there every single year. And he's younger than Travis Kelce. And people are still willing to buy into that Travis Kelce. Like, 31 for me off of George Kittle, like, doesn't really scare me away by any stretch. I think he's going to be good for next 2 years at least. And so Kyler, I want to believe in Kyler, man, but dude, it's not good out there. It is not looking good for him. And we talk about sacks and, negative scoring for the sacks and interceptions. And I mean, the man's at least throwing one interception a game at this point, and he's getting sacked all the time. So I think there's a real world where I would be okay with making this pivot. Ideally, I don't know if Shane gave us any context to his quarterback situation. I think that's really where it hinges for me. Like, if he has two reliable quarterbacks, because you know how difficult it can be sometimes, man, to get a quarterback in the Superflex league. Depending on the context and who else he has at quarterback, I would take the Kittle and James Cook side. That being said, though, if I don't have another if I'm rolling one quarterback, I'm not making this deal. I would just stick with Kyler and just hope and pray that better days are ahead.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking around at John Bauer's tiers here, and I mean, I think it's pretty clear. Like, Kyler is the best player in the deal. Let's not get that twisted.
No,
right?
absolutely not. Yeah.
Quarterback. Correct. He has the Konami code built in. Right. Yep. He had a difficult season, a frustrating one with where expectations were, and there's not this hope that it's going to get magically better over the offseason. Like, we need to see some things before that perception changes. Let me run through a quick little would you rather here for James Cook. Okay, so we're gonna just go through running back for running back. You tell me who you want.
All right.
Okay,
we'll start. Thinking cap on.
Yeah, we'll start easy. We'll start easier, as I think it's easy. James Cook or Jonathan Taylor?
Jonathan Taylor.
Okay. James Cook or Kyron Williams?
Kyron Williams.
James Cook or Josh Jacobs?
I think now we're having a conversation. James Cook or Josh Jacobs? I'm going to lean Josh Jacobs by a little bit.
Okay. James Cook or Kenny Walker?
James Cook.
James Cook or Derrick Henry?
Mm.
I knew that one would get you.
Damn. Dude, I mean, how could you discredit Derrick Henry right now? Like, I think I'm going to have to just, I guess, ride that one until the wheels fall off. But from a production standpoint, Derrick Henry. From an ADV standpoint, James Cook. I hope that helps.
Okay. I got like 3 or 4 more for you. Okay. James Cook right. or Bucky Irvin?
Ooh. That's a great one. I think that's kind of a coin flip for me. Ideally, I'd like Bucky a little bit more, but I'm good either way there. I'm good either way, but I think I would lean Bucky.
I think I would lean Bucky too. I would.
But is it close for you though, or no?
It's close, and I'm slowly circling the drain of what my point is. But David Montgomery or James Cook?
Oh yeah, James Cook.
James Cook or Christian McCaffrey?
I'm gonna go James Cook.
Okay, and then James Cook or Chase Brown?
James Cook or Chase Brown? Probably Chase Brown.
Okay. So I didn't even name Kamara. I didn't name Mixon, Chuba. I didn't mention any of those names, and we didn't go anything higher. But the point is, I think James Cook is dope, but he's also in a very flat range of running back where you can pivot and you can probably solve that one way or the other. So getting the upgrade in James Cook is not like a priority in my January, February trading habits. So with that being said, without any additional context, I'll take Kyler. I'll take the downgrade in Jerome Ford because I'm probably playing any running back on a 53, and Ford just kind of checks that box. Kyler hopefully solves more problems than he creates by me taking him on. But like you said, if I have two quarterbacks that I'm relying on, or even if I have one of the elite guys, I'm probably okay moving away Kyler, locking in Kittle, and getting James Cook. We haven't really touched on the tight end as much. I mean, tight end, it's, yes, 2.0 tight end premium. Kittle's definitely a hammer in there. But there are also multiple ways you can approach tight end. So depending on what your team looks like, that may sway me one way or the other.
Yeah, I think the tight end position, though, for me is like in a lineup league, it's a little bit different than in a best ball league. Like in a best ball league, I think we both have the same approach of like, I'll just have a bunch of warm bodies and hope one of them hits, you know?
Yes.
But in a lineup league, man, you're not going to want to sit there and start Jawan Johnson, or you're not going to want to sit there and, you know what I'm saying? Like that's an approach that we would have on a best ball roster. But in a lineup league, like you want a guy that you can start week in and week out. And I think that's what George Kittle gives you. You know, I think easily you look at the other side, Kittle and James Cook, I think you can easily get first for both of these guys, like pretty easily. I think so. Then you sit there and look at it like probably 2 firsts and like a second, give or take, for Kyler Murray, Jerome Ford. Like, I feel like, again, I understand where you're going with. Again, we always value the quarterbacks, but man, it just hasn't been good for Kyler. Like, it just, hopefully better days are ahead because I have him in multiple spots, but it definitely doesn't look good for him.
Yeah. I could do the same exercise with Kyler, and we could name 6 quarterbacks in the same range that we may take over him as well, right? So you can kind of do it from either side, and that's where I think having some more context would probably push us in a direction here. But overall, good trade, right? Plays the format with the 1.25 for reception for the running backs, 2.0 for the tight ends. Kyler, like I said, I know Shane's, the way he approaches things, I know that there's probably something else behind that. So fun one. Okay.
Derek,
yeah, I know, man. I know. Tommy Targaryen, 12 team, super flex, start 10, PPR 1.5 tight end premium. This was switching from a 10 by 9, 1 quarterback, half PPR. Let's just talk about that real quick. 10 by 9 to a 12 by 10, 1 quarterback to super flex, half PPR to PPR, and add a 1.5 tight end premium. Wait, no. Applause. There we go. Applause.
I mean, you could have just nuked the league and started all over again at this point, changed all the settings.
I mean, you could have, but I mean, when you're able to pull off some sweet trades in the meantime, I don't hate it. So, Tommy traded away Lamar Jackson, the guy that we were just fawning about, Romeo Doubs, and Jameson Williams. Got himself into Joe Burrow, Chris Godwin, and Garrett Wilson. So,
Smash.
I mean, look, it's Lamar over Burrow, right? It is.
It is, yeah.
It is. It's Konami code versus.
But it's close.
It is. Joe Burrow had his outlier season here. Joe Burrow also feels like the kind of guy who can have multiple outlier seasons. So I don't hate the price, but he is more of a passing quarterback than a rushing quarterback, and we know how the community feels about rushing versus passing quarterbacks. We saw it with CJ Stroud this year. Anywho, we're going to see it today with CJ Stroud, what happens against Chiefs defense. Anyways, even if you want to call that close, I mean, Doubs and Jamo versus Godwin and Garrett Wilson. Let me start here with you, Gabe. Chris Godwin or Jameson Williams?
I mean, I think I want Jamo. Yeah. I want Jamo.
I think I do too.
Garrett Wilson by 15-mile links over Romeo Doubs.
I wasn't gonna.
I mean, like,
I didn't want to start there. I wanted to see if we could find some common ground first. But I mean, yes, I agree. I think it's Jamo over Godwin from a age discount, from a a tradability standpoint. But I mean,
not coming off an injury, everything.
Yes, absolutely. I wanted to pull up a little bit of a visual for the people here. So we got the Trinity tracker pulled up on the screen here. If I can get that centered, there we go. Jameson Williams on the whole year, 5.64 Trinity score, 14.49 points per game. So, decent year, but we know what Jamo is, right? He's the guy that can put up those massive plays and enter your line at the spike week potential. Guy, I love rolling him out as my wide receiver 3. Like, I love having that kind of upside. Doubs, 6.73, more involved in the offense, but we know Green Bay had a bunch of shopping carts with mannequin arms at points throughout the season, and a lot of injuries happened, and Doubs unfortunately is dealing with his gonked gourd again. So hopefully all the best to him and his brain. But then you got Garrett Wilson, 7.31, 15 points per game, and Chris Godwin, 7.84, 19.69 points per game. Godwin just had incredible, and hopefully he can come back as close to fully healthy as he can. Going into next year here. But if you're willing to accept the down tier from Lamar to Burrow, then give me I'll give you the Jamo over the Godwin if you can give me the Garrett Wilson over the Doubs. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean Jamo and Doubs for Garrett Wilson, probably still Garrett Wilson, right? Or where are you at?
That's still Garrett Wilson for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So then at that point, I mean Joe Burrow, Godwin for Lamar. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I feel like no matter which way we slice and dice this, we always come back to the same conclusion.
Yeah, it's a 12 by 10, right? Like I don't need the Doubs. Like Jamo's sweet, but I like Jamo more in that start 11, start 12 kind of range where having him is a bit more of an advantage. Whereas I can pop in a lot of different wide receivers in that range and probably feel the same, if not better, about it. So give me Burrow, give me Wilson, give me Godwin. Good job, Tommy. Bang. Okay, here we go. We got a JSN sell. 12 team, start 12. Best ball, super flex. Gabe, best ball hat's on. Here we go.
I love it. This is where my hat's always on. It's always on best ball.
It's true. So, one team receives Jayden Daniels. The rookie sensation.
Yeah.
JSN, the man back from the dead, the Undertaker meme, JSN. And our boy Mattison, Alexander Mattison, who actually won me a couple best ball leagues this year. So thank you, Mattison. Got traded away for Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, DJ Moore, and Isaiah Likely. So, Gabe, on the surface, it's a 3 for 4 in best ball. If you take away Mattison, it's a 2 for 4. I don't think Mattison holds much value or flexibility in the offseason.
He's just won you some championships, and you're discrediting him like that.
He did what I neted him to do. Now it's
man. No loyalty in these streets.
It's just a business. It's just a business game. We're just trying to move forward. So one side clearly is after the quarterback upgrade, 12 by 12 best ball. JSN is really a nice piece as well. But let me ask you this, Gabe. So.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb for Jayden Daniels and Alexander Mattison. Where do you come down there?
I mean, I in a best ball league, I want Dak and CeeDee.
Yeah.
I understand the move, but I mean, even in the lineup league, dude, I want CeeDee Lamb and Dak. If Dak can give me 80% of what Jayden Daniels can give me, which I'm going to bet he's going to probably do week in and week out, maybe even 75%. Sure. The points that CeeDee Lamb is going to score way out, make up that difference tenfold.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I'm there with you. Like I said, in best ball, I don't need to crush at quarterback to feel great. And Dak definitely can hopefully give me 70, 75, 80% of what Jayden Daniels gives me week over week. And there will be weeks where Dak outscores Jayden Daniels. So I'm not worried there. Yep. CeeDee Lamb, again, I mean, come on. CeeDee Lamb over JSN, over Mattison, like over any really other ancillary piece in that deal. I mean, Gabe, I'm going to ask you, like, how far off is CeeDee Lamb from Jayden Daniels in like a 12 by 12 best ball type format?
I mean, I still think it's a little bit off. I would probably say somewhere around maybe a first, like a late first or so. Like a late first and CeeDee Lamb, Jayden Daniels should probably get you at least sniffing, at
You
least sniffing
should.
in the same realm. But
Should.
yeah, I think the buzz though that Jayden Daniels has right now, especially with the playoffs, him still being in the playoffs, like he's expensive, man. He's definitely very, very expensive, and so yeah, I think a CeeDee Lamb and a first should get you somewhere in the range of Jayden Daniels. Maybe not there 100%, but I think you're close. Like in a startup, these guys are going to go 7 picks apart, maybe, depending on, like in a snake draft. Like it's probably Allen, Lamar, Daniels, and then you've got like Burrow, Hurts somewhere in that, and then you've got probably Chase Jefferson, Lamb, Amon-Ra. Like they're right there somewhere in that range of like 5, 6, 7 picks apart. So they've got to be pretty close, man. They've got to be pretty close.
Yep. No, I mean, I'm looking at Adico's startup ADP data right now, and I mean, Jayden Daniels QB3 103, and then CeeDee Lamb 111, behind Chase, behind Jefferson, behind Bowers, behind Mahomes, behind Bijan. Same range as Neighbors, Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Puka. Yeah. So, I think a late first is probably what it takes. I mean, you're probably looking at about that. So, all that to say, Jayden Daniels is dope. CeeDee Lamb and Dak and best ball is probably the side that I'm going to want to get into there. Now, JSN or DJ Moore and Isaiah Likely, 12 by 12. We have no idea about the tight end premium, so let's just say 1.5.
Like 15. Let's just say like 15 to make it easy for us.
15 points. 15 tight end premium. Okay, let's do that. Yeah. Heroes versus villains style tight end premium. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Man, dude, I really, really like DJ Moore. Really like DJ Moore. Hasn't given me what I want or what I've hoped for, if you will, with Caleb Williams taking over. But I do still pray that there are and hope that there are better days. Again, hope kills all fantasy teams, right? The number one killer of fantasy teams. But I would want Jackson Smith and Jigba over DJ Moore and Isaiah Likely. However, I can understand like the delta I feel like from the other side makes up for it. And in a best ball league, I want more darts at the board. And even though Mattison won you a couple of chips, you're right. He's not anything. So 2 for 4 for me. I'm going to probably lean the fourth side most of the time, and then I just think the amount of points that are being added on a roster from the 4 for 2 just makes up for it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not breaking your construction at all. You're keeping your quarterbacks the way they are. You're moving down the tier, but you're keeping the points. You're moving up at wide receiver. JSN to Moore, I'll take JSN, but Moore definitely cuts that in, and then you just give me a tight end body, and likely I can make that work. So give me the four side here. Yeah. And so Ren Dog Millionaire. Good work. I like it. That's one way to sell off your JSN. Probably sucks trading off that Jayden Daniels, but you're going to be happy looking at Dak and CeeDee and all that. Unless all the Twitter chats about the Dak being traded away. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we doing here? Trey Lance is going to take over. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Roy G, our boy Roy G, did a couple way too early trades, taking the stance that the class is deep but lacking top tier talents. So we got three trades here, but I don't think we need to do the lightning round here, Gabe. But we'll talk about it. So,
right.
Roy G is making some early bets, moving off of some of these picks, betting on the depth of the class versus the high end talent. So, trades away 108 for 202 and 205. Do we have any other context here on the league? Not really. So, let's call it 12 team, start 10 PPR. Okay. So 108 or 25 and 28, Gabe.
I mean, I think it's still too early, man, to make a pivot like this personally. I understand what you're trying to do. And again, normally I would want to, if there's a flat range, then I'm okay with trading in between that tier if I can pick up assets, something similar to this. However, moving 6 spots back, I mean, we just don't know. We have a good idea of where the tiers are, but things shift, man. As soon as people get landing spots, as soon as the buzz starts picking up, as soon as combine comes out, different things. And so I personally would rather hold on to that 108 at the moment than get the 205 and the 202. Like, I'd rather have that first in my back pocket for whatever I need. So I understand. Again, he even made the comment of like maybe making a trade a little too early. So I would kind of piggyback off of that and just say too, like, I would want to stick with the 108 for now and just let that pick, let it fester a little bit, let it get a little bit more value, and then make a pivot then.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I think I agree with the premise. I do think that this class is going to have such nice depth that you're going to be sitting there in the second and you're like, wow, like, I'm happy that other people have made this choice for me, and now I can make these picks. And I definitely agree with that. I agree that the top end quarterback value is not currently there. But we know one thing is true. As we move through the combine, as we move towards the draft, as we get to draft day, these picks are going to accrue value. More so the first than the seconds. And I want to get my hands on as many seconds and thirds as I can, especially in best ball formats, especially in deeper lineup formats. But this is one of those deals where I think there's an opportunity cost to moving away the 108 right now. One, I think 108's in that range where you should be able to flip it for a 26 first or maybe even a 27 first and something if that's what you want to do with it. I think that's the range we're going to be talking about pivoting off for a future pick. And this is also one of those deals that I suspect you'll be able to get done at multiple points throughout the process. So I don't need to do that today. To make that bet today. And also just looking at it from a pure trading standpoint, Gabe, if I attached the 202 and the 205 to a player in a deal, or I attach the 108 to a player in a deal, it's a very, very hypothetical situation I'm giving you here, Gabe. But I mean, wouldn't you usually want the 108 as the piece to attach versus multiple seconds?
Yeah. And I agree with that because I think at the end of the day, now that we've kind of talked about it a little bit more, like, this feels kind of like selling the 108 for like 85, 90 cents on the dollar. And it's not something that you have to do right now. Again, I mean, you're not going to go and unless you absolutely just need it, right? But I would imagine right now in the offseason, we don't need to make any of these moves. And so I feel like you're selling something that hey, if I hold it for another 2 months, I can get 110% of what I would normally get, right? Versus right now selling it for 80 to 90 cents on the dollar. Like, you might as well just try to hold it. I mean, again, you're trying to get ahead of it a little bit, but I feel like this might have been a little bit of the wrong approach. To your point, could you have gotten a 26 first and the 202 or a 26 first and the 205? Like, could you have gotten that? Like, probably the 205 might be a little bit more reasonable, but I think that's something that you could definitely have gotten done at that point, and I would much rather have made a pivot like that right now.
Yeah. And again, I don't know if you can even get that today, like the 26 first and a piece, but my bet is that as we move through the process here, as there's more name recognition, more bias takes, more of the same thing being piped through every fantasy football show you watch, the hype is going to build, the picks are going to, and you're going to want either a piece of that or a chance to maneuver around in that. But I think there's going to be some other deals here that he does do that maybe we're more in line with, that speak to what we would do right now. So let's do that. So Roy sent away 2-7, 2-9, and 2-8, 3 in a row. My apologies. They got in to 2-7, 2-8, 2-9, 3 picks in a row. You know, Gabe, that I love doing that. I love having picks back to back to back where I can really control what the draft does. Yeah. Trade away 110 and 3-7. So again, 110 a little bit lower on the scale than 110. 3-7 had to throw that in, but you get 3 shots in the second. Do you feel any different about this one, or is it kind of the same premise as our previous example?
I mean, I like this a little bit more than the first deal, just because you're getting an extra asset in that second. But it's still kind of the same concept for me, man. I think the 110, again, I think over the course of time, it's going to accrue more value than the seconds. And I don't know if this is all the same league, but moving from the 108 and the 110, and now you're a 202, 205, 207, 208, and 209. Like, it's great in theory, but I feel like you just gave up a lot more leverage. I feel like people are more willing to trade for firsts than they are willing to trade for seconds. And that's where I feel like a little bit more of an edge can kind of be had, is you can, if you're the one that has those first and you want to make pivots, I feel like you can make people pay up a little bit more for them. And even if it's not right now, I know for a fact you can do it in the future, right? Like, I know once the combine comes around, you're going to be able to move these picks for more than what you're selling them for right now.
I gotcha. Yeah. I think that's what I come back to that piece where it's not a deal you have to make today. And I'm not opposed to making a deal where maybe I take a slight haircut to get it done, to make the bet that I want to make, to give myself more things that I can work with. Like, especially if you took over an orphan, you just need to split the baby and get more assets. Like, I'm cool with any of these, but like we're saying, I think there's probably a bit of a, did you have to do that today? And was there maybe a better deal that you're giving up by making that deal today? I think it comes down to that.
Moving back 9 spots. Moving back 9 spots, and then you're moving up. I mean, from the 307 to the 209, what is that? 10 spots. So, and then you're picking up a second on top of it, really. So you're moving back 9 spots, moving up 10, and then you're picking up a 208 on top of it. It's fine. It's fine. I don't really like it. I think I kind of still lean the 110, but I understand what you're trying to do. I really do understand what you're trying to do.
If there's a class to do this kind of deal, it's this one. So I'm here for it. And this maybe is a deal that I do, once we get down the line, because that's the best that's available. But it's maybe not the deal I'm trying to do right now, because I think I can maybe do more with that 110, whether it be in a deal today or down the line. God, where did it go? It all disappeared on us, Gabe. Here we go. Last one. Bang. 112 being sent away for 2-3 and 2-8. So this is a smaller delta from where we're moving back to 112. It's it's Mitch's pick. We've seen Bauer's name. We've seen Mitch's name. We've seen our boy Jay Mills. We've seen a lot of different names in here already. So we know the league is active. There's some good managers. So keep that in mind. We're doing this as well, right? But 110 to 203. So moving back 4 spots, and then picking up the 208. How are we feeling here? Does the 112 hold that same appeal as the 1-8 and 110?
No, I think now the mindset starts to shift for me a little bit more at this point, because now you're moving back 3 spots, but you're picking up a 208. Like, I think that I believe from the 111-ish, give or take, to like the 2.8, 2.9, 2.10, somewhere around there, it'll probably be a little bit more of a flatter tier, if you will. Mm-hmm. And so then at that point, like, as I mentioned earlier, I'm okay to trade in between tiers at that point. But for me, okay, so like going back really quick, tied to the other trade, if you're willing to move the 108 for the 202 and 205, I mean, I just feel like this is a much better compiled deal where I feel like you're moving back a couple spots, but you're picking up more. I feel like the 108 to the 205 is such a large. There's so many players that can go in between that range, and this is a little bit more concise, I feel like. So this is a little bit better for me. I don't know. I don't know if you feel that way, but I feel like moving back 3 spots and picking up an additional mid-ish second is probably the better play.
I've also tried to kind of put this, like, if I was on the clock with these picks, I don't want to make the pick. What am I going to do? The first 2 deals, that's like my pull the ripcord. I really don't want to pick here. I will do that. This here, I think this is more savvy because you're moving back 4 spots. And again, like, I've done a couple mock drafts. Like, the values we have on these players are going to change. The sentiment on these picks will change. Mm-hmm. But I feel like I can do more or less the same thing with 112 and 203. I think it's probably going to be the same range. You still stay in that like 205 and above range, where from like a wins above replacement perspective, you're probably still looking at a positive in what you're picking up or what you can do with it. 208. Love having like a mid-second to pick up in the class here. But that 112, people are already going to be treating that like 201 plus, right? It doesn't have that same luster. It's the champion's pick. Like, I like this pivot to do today. And I think if you would have done this today, you would have felt like you've accomplished a bit of that. You've made your bet on the class, and then you still have 108 and 110. You can do something similar with that, but gosh, Gabe, like if you had 108 and 110, you wait till the combine, everyone runs fast, looks big. I feel like you could probably do a lot more with those two picks and still feel happy about what you've done here because you're betting the same range here versus, like you said, 108 to 202 or 112 to 203. I like that delta better.
Exactly. Yeah. And I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, I like that deal more because it's a little bit more closer in value where you're actually switching between tiers. The 108, I feel like from the 202, that is a tiered drop. You know what I mean? If not one, maybe even two, depending on what it ends up shaping out to be. So yeah, man, this one is a savvy deal to your point. I think this one's a lot better for me. I'm going to lean the 203, 208 side on this one. But the other two, I feel like if you could have gotten the picks a little bit closer in value, I feel like I would have been more inclined to do those.
Yeah, like I said, Roy, we're right here with the bet, with the mindset, with what you're trying to do. Like that third deal, the other two, it might maybe it's a step too early, right? So just let the process play out a bit. Have those first in your pocket that you can do it with, but clearly you have a cachet of seconds and everything you can do everything with. So it's an active league, so go have fun, go make your bets, but. Yeah, Gabe, this is going to be an exciting offseason. Value shifting, class that doesn't really have the quarterbacks on the move. Is there anything in particular you're trying on your dynasty teams? And aside from, probably shedding a couple tears this afternoon, how do you feel about the playoffs coming up?
Man, I think right now the offseason is some of the best times, man, to get great value, right? I think a lot of the people right now want to pivot off of veterans to get into younger assets. And I feel like right now is a really good time you can flip rebuilding teams into contending teams in the offseason like nobody's business because people are wanting to actively get off of people who they feel like are too old or, whatever. And so those are some of the things that I've started to implement into my leagues personally is like, if I know that I can get a good value in selling a young wide receiver, running back, or whatever, and get into something older and pick up an additional asset, I'm going to start doing that, man, tenfold. And so I really feel there's a lot that can be learned in the off season. So yeah, man, just again, keep doing that. As far as the playoffs go, can't wait to kick your ass later today. I know. CJ Stroud's going to show up, man. He's gonna have the ice in his veins. At least that's what I'm hoping for. He
caught wind that you got a good deal on him in the auction. He's going to prove everyone wrong now. So
correct. Hey, again, and to that point right there, that's perfect. CJ Stroud right now is a guy that his value is not very good. I promise you, he can be had, and I promise you, he will probably be one that can ascend into next season. Yep. Not maybe where he was, but definitely from where he is right now. It's a lot of good values, man, that can be had right now in the offseason.
A lot of good values, a lot of flat ranges too. So we'll keep doing some exercises to try to find those flat ranges. We'll keep trying to get better. But if you want to get better, head over to ddfantasyfootball.com. Use code TRADES. Get in the door, 50% off for the All Conference Plus Discord tier. Use code TRADEGOAT. Let's get that off the screen, dude. Come on. TRADEGOAT. Get in the GOAT tier, 50% off the first month. You get access to all the pods, all the voice chat, all the Heisman, everything you need, Trinity Tool, War Machine, everything that you need to dominate your leagues, ddfantasyfootball.com. Live roster reviews from the All Gas team here. If you sign up with any of those codes, shoot us a DM. We'll review your roster on the arm first for signing up. Gabe, I'm so excited to continue this offseason with you, buddy. Excited to get the All Gas Trade Show Dynasty League started up as well. So it's going to be a fun time. Let's get the music going. Okay. Hey, thanks everyone for your trades this week. Again, don't need to make some trades today, but think ahead of what's going to gain value, what you can do with those picks. And it's going to be a very, very fun process navigating this 2025 offseason. So take care. Have a great rest of your Saturday. See you in the next one. We out of this thing. Peace.